Inversion tables can be a useful tool to treat pain, but when's the best time to use them? Dr. John DiMaggio from Tulsa Spine and Rehab joins us. Dr. DiMaggio, when is the use of an inversion table advised?
It's primarily dependent on the patient's condition, so it's pretty much advisable for most musculoskeletal type disorders, anything where there's tension in the low back, areas where maybe the spine's been compressed, or if you've heard of, radicular type pain where people have some pain down their legs and things like that. When they're not advised is essentially when you have any kind of structural instability in the spine. So what I'm talking about is like a fracture, we have something called a spondylolisthesis, is where the bone essentially around the spinal cord can fracture, and then it can slide forward and backward, either hitting the cord or hitting nerves. When you have stenosis, that's going to be some things that you're going to want to be careful with that. Maybe see somebody before you embark or start using one of those tables. But more often than not, general mechanical low back pain, inversion tables are probably going to be helpful.
What do they do? How do they work?
So when you get in one, you're essentially strapping your feet in, and then to a degree you can set a post or some kind of stop so that you go back, 30, 40, 50, 60, all the way up to 90 degrees or essentially 180 degrees straight up and down. So by doing that, they use your body weight and gravity to kind of decompress and elongate your spine. And when that happens, much like when you sleep at night, your discs fill with fluid, and that's kind of how they feed themselves. They're not very vascular structures, meaning they don't have a substantial blood supply. They get a lot of their nutrition and things through motion. So when you sleep at night, your discs fill with water, and they kind of get nutrition that way. So it's almost like you're kind of stimulating that process by unloading your spine, so you can get into this position for 8 or 10 or 15 minutes or however long the protocol is for, to help decrease the tension in your spine, decrease the load on your spine. Everything else we do, we're upright, we're jamming, we're smashing, for lack of a better term. Those discs, they're drying out over the course of the day, and then you're getting more of this compression on maybe nerves or just the joints are jamming together, becoming irritated.
What about unsupervised usage? Is it possible to do some damage? Is it okay to use them away from the clinic?
Yeah, so more often than not, they're going to be a home care type thing. That's why it's important to know, A, what's going on, B, if you have any of those structural instabilities or things that could potentially exacerbate or make worse. And then lastly, if everything's clear and good to go, yeah, you're going to be doing a lot of it at home. So being reasonable with it, if 5 minutes is good, a half an hour is not necessarily better. So that's a lot of times what we'll hear from people is, oh, some is good, so I've been using this TENS unit all night, or I've been doing this thing or that thing. And realistically, if you're using something to that extent, you've got a bigger problem going on, and you're kind of just managing enough to get through the day. So yeah, at home you're going to be using it, and it's going to be something that, like I said, as long as you have a general kind of mechanical low back problem or something that's not being diagnosed as like a disc extrusion or anything where there's a substantial compromise to the tissue in your low back, it should be relatively safe for you to use at home in a controlled manner.
Give the team at Tulsa Spine and Rehab the opportunity to show how they can help alleviate the pain bothering you. Don't put it off anymore. Give them a call at 918-743-3737.